Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Arum. In this video, I will to explain about how to describe language. Both students and teachers need to know how to talk about language at various points during learning and teaching. In order to be able to talk about language, we need to know how to describe its various elements. So, in this chapter, there are some very basic language description and issues. The basic language that I will explain, there are sentence construction, part of speech, forms and meaning, language functions, words together collocation, speaking and writing, and pronunciation. The first one, I will to explain about sentences construction. In sentence construction, we have a complement. So, a complement is used with verb like be, seem, look, and etc. to give information about the subject. For the example, she looked gorgeous. Okay. Second one, we have subject plus verb only. So, the example is they disagreed. The next one, two objects. For the example, I gave a bracelet to my boyfriend. Next, there are adverbial phrases. Adverbial phrases complement the verb in the same way that a complement complements the subject. For the example, why should we pay taxes to the government? And next, the last is multi-clause sentence. Multi-clause sentence is made up of a main clause and then one or more dependent clauses. Noun types. We have countable and uncountable noun. Countable noun, for the example, is two apples. Uncountable noun, for the example, like hair, sugar, and salt. Verb types. There are auxiliary verbs. For example, shall, should, will, and would, and etc. The next one is main verbs. These carry the main meaning. For the example sentence, he arrived at the 7 o'clock. The last, phrasal verbs. These are formed by adding an adverb or a preposition to a verb to create new meaning. For example, set out. Verb forms. There are present, past, simple, and continuous. And then there are form and meaning, perfect verb, participles, regular and irregular verbs, active and passive verbs. Pronouns. There are three basic types of pronouns: personal pronouns, relative personal pronouns, and relative pronouns. Adjective. Adjectives can be used before and after nouns. They can have many forms. There are comparative and superlative adjectives. Adverb. Adverbs can be of time, manner, and place. The example of adverb of time is early, late, and yesterday. Example of adverb, the manner adverb, he played well. Example of adverb of place, they were upstairs. And I live in Cambridge. Prepositions. Preposition like at, in, on, for, of, with, and etc. usually come before a noun but can also come at the end of a clause with certain structure. Articles. There are definite article and indefinite article. Definite article, for the example, I had a book. The book was blue. Indefinite article refer to a particular person or thing when the listener or reader doesn't know which one is being described. For the example, I'm going to buy a new computer. Conjunction and conditional. There are coordinating conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions, and correlative conjunction. Conditional sentences. The example of conditional sentences: if you work hard, you'll pass the exam. Forms and meanings. One form, many meanings. Individual words can mean more than one thing. For example, book, Book is something to read, to reserve, a list of dates, and etc. One meaning, many forms. Where words appear to have the same meaning to be synonyms, in other words, they are usually distinct from each other. For example, we can describe an intelligent person with a number of different words. Intelligent, bright, brainly, clever, smart, and etc. Language functions. A language function is a purpose you wish to achieve when you say or write something. By performing the function, you are performing an act of communication. If you say, I invite you, you are performing the function of inviting. If you say, I apologize, you are performing the function of apologizing. If our students want to express themselves in speaking or writing, they need to know how to perform these functions. In other words, how to use grammar and vocabulary to express certain meanings or purposes. Words together collocation. Collocations are two or more words that go together. There is not necessarily a logical to why they go together, however. It is more a function of what sounds right or normal to a native speaker. If you express a concept and use a collocation incorrectly, people would still understand you. It simply would not sound quite idiomatic to a native speaker. Speaking and writing. There are some characteristics of spoken English. Firstly, people speak in incomplete sentences. For example, cold instead of it's cold. Cup of coffee instead of would you like a cup of coffee? Secondly, speakers repeat what each other says. For example, cold. Yes, cold, really cold. Speakers also tend to use constructions. Here is, that's, how. Whereas in writing usually use the full form or the auxiliary verbs. Here is, that is, how have. Pronunciation. There are three areas we need to know about in the pronunciation of English. Apart from speed and volume, which are intimately connected with meaning. First one, sounds or phonemes are represented here by phonetic symbol. Stress. The stressed syllable, the syllable which carries the main stress, is the part of a word or phrases which has the greatest emphasis because the speaker increases the volume or changes the pitch of their voice when saying that syllable. Pitch and intonation. When we pitch the words we say, we may use a variety of different levels. Higher when we are excited or terrified, for example, but lower when we are sleepy or bored. Okay, maybe that's all my explanation about how to describe language. Thank you so much for attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.